Oh, hi, I didn't see that. I was just going through the latest movies that came out in theaters recently. Oh, why do you ask? Well, movie theaters offer a certain kind of magic that I think no other genre brings to the table in terms of entertainment. Sure, there are a lot of other ways to entertain yourself via TV shows, hobbies, and companionship, but movie theaters just gives off a certain vibe that no other genre brings. Whether it be seeing your favorite characters on the big screen, the acoustics and seats, or how every single movie gets to be treated like an event with their magnificent performance. However, though, movies nowadays, theaters to be specific, have seemed to be undesirable. And it's not because the quality of the movies have been going down, but it's easy to see that the seats have not had much of an audience. People have described this problem as movie fatigue. People just being tired of movies and the theaters in general. And while there is definitely connection to why movie theaters are dwindling down, I don't think fatigue is the reason. There is something more at play here. But before going into that, it should be made aware that movies were already on a steep decline way back before 2020 and actually the beginning of 2014. As according to statistics from End News and Screen Media, the calculation on media consumption, it shows that purchases revenues for movies have decreased by the passing year by 10%, all the way from 2014 leading all the way to 2018, which isn't the end of the world, as at that time, movie theaters were still wrecking billions of dollars. And while it is dwindling shortly, it's nothing to scream home about. However, numbers will start to show a little bit more steepness when we get to 2020, as we are too familiar with when the pandemic hit, COVID-19, shutting down theaters all across the world, with the first being AMC shutting it down in March of 2020, with all other theaters following suit. Now, obviously, if your business is not up and running, it's of course that your sales will go down. However, even at the pandemic's end, records still show theaters not doing so well in the box office, even though they were back and running. The last box office revenue that was made was in 2019, which made $11 billion, all the way up to 2022, where it only made the $7 billion, which is the lowest movie theaters have ever made in years. Like we said before, people are connecting it to fatigue, but I think it's probably something else. I would like to address the problem being in terms of just the new way we see media. Nowadays, everybody is glued to their phones, iPads, and digital devices through social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, which we'll get to a little bit to later. And studies have shown that the more connected we are to these devices, the lower our attention span gets. This is especially true with children, as nowadays, when raising children, they mostly grow up with digital devices. And as they grow up, digital devices already hinder one's attention span. So, rather when you're an adult where it's lowering it, it's actually hindering children from getting their attention span risen to at least the average amount. It's become truly detrimental now, however, thanks to TikTok, which made a resurgence in 2019. It started off in China as just any other music social media site in 2016, went worldwide in 2018, but didn't get popular until the pandemic hit. This is because with everybody inside and everybody doing their own thing, a lot of people needed a way to distract themselves. And seeing how TikTok just became popular the year prior, it was the perfect getaway for a lot of people. However, TikTok had the biggest spike in attention span lowering out of every other media site so far. Microsoft has made studies to TikTok users, and it said their attention span and they gained memory loss in the first 20 minutes in use of TikTok. This also messed with their decision making, as TikTok is programmed to remove that in mind. When using TikTok and you're scrolling to videos, TikTok operates by picking the videos for you the more you scroll down, eliminating it and giving our brain an award system. An award for not having to pick anything at all and yet still being entertained. This brings us to how movie theaters themselves are going down with two reasons. One, with attention spans lowering, not people want to spend their time going to the movie theaters, as A lot of people nowadays don't have the attention span for it. The other reason is the problem is when it comes to doing movie theaters. As when going to the movie theaters, you have to pick and choose which movies to watch. But because our brains, or especially young people, children to be specific, has become so used to not be able to pick what they use for entertainment, picking to go to a movie theater seems more like a drag than it does enjoyment for people. Now, again, this isn't the end all be all, as movies are still being talked about to this day and breaking box offices. But how are movies still being talked about if the theaters themselves aren't doing as well? Well, the next attention this brings us is streaming services, which also got a huge spike during the pandemic. The studies have shown that over 70% of people have subscribed to online subscriptions, over 1.1 million as soon as the pandemic hit, and by its end, 3.3 million. So, with all the movies readily available in one's house, it seems a lot more convenient. As going to a movie theater, you would need a ride, pay for tickets, food, which costs just as much as the tickets. However, watching a movie within your home with a streaming service, it eliminates the need to go anywhere, eliminates the need to buy any food that's not within your own home, and multiple movies that is at access within your own grasp, not for a limited time at the movie theater. What hits home for this is the fact that nowadays, 90% of movies that hit theaters end up hitting streaming services just a month after the theater release. Now, I am quite positive that this does not kill the genre, and the very classic magic that the movies brings will keep it alive. So it's not the fact that movies are dying, or the fact that people are just tired of movies, but it's the fact that media has given us a new way to look at things, and we just have more options. But that doesn't mean we should be scared of its end, as movie theaters are still going strong.